Okay, good morning, everyone. We're in our record mode. This is Herbert Harris, and this is our Saturday morning training call. I'll tell you something. This is going to be an interesting call because I was doing a deep meditation, just sort of looking at some of the things we wanted to do today and what we wanted to say, and I think I wanted to capture, basically thoughts that I think are in everybody's minds, everybody's heads, and so we're looking at the end of the year, and I guess at the end of each year, we always have that, did I do everything I could to make 2010 the way I wanted it to be? We have that tendency to kind of look back and wonder if we really did all that we needed to do to make the year that we want it to be. Did I do everything to make my business grow the way I wanted it to grow? That's a heavy question because I know it's on all of our minds. Did I stay focused on my why? Okay. To the exclusion of all distractions. Or did I let myself get distracted, discouraged, or did I just plain quit and not tell anyone and not tell myself? And so, when we get to the end of the year, we start having those kind of thoughts because I guess when we made our New Year's resolutions at the beginning of 2010, the sky was the limit. But as we begin to move through the year and with action or inaction, reality becomes the fact. And so today I want to just think about that and sort of get us set up for next year and look at some of the things that may have undermined us and slowed us down this year. And I think of a story we used to share in some of our personal development seminars, and we talk about God and the devil. It's just a positive and a negative force, and there was a conversation with God and the devil, and God was saying, I'm just happy and proud the way that mankind progresses. And the devil was sort of nodding his head. He said, every time the devil sets up an obstacle, when people see it as an opportunity and overcome it. And the devil sort of nods his head. He says, and when people have setbacks, that there are folks who look at a setback as a setup for a comeback. And then, God says, even when you throw out failure, many people consider failure just a dress rehearsal for success. But then the devil says, yeah, I appreciate that. He said, but I got one trick up here on the shelf, up on the top shelf of negativity. And he pulls it down. And you know what it was? It was discouragement. In other words, discouragement is the way that people quit and don't tell you. Discouragement is the way that you quit and don't tell yourself. Discouragement takes away your initiative. It takes away your creativity. Discouragement makes you doubt yourself and your abilities. Discouragement destroys your faith. And don't we all get discouraged at times? In other words, we talk about our business, and here we have the greatest opportunity in the history of the world. We can help people live longer, feel better, and make money doing it, and yet they say, no thank you. I want to die young. I want to be sick. I want to stay broke. And so when you keep hearing that and seeing that over and over again, it's easy to get discouraged because you begin to wonder whether it really works. We say faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Well, when you're discouraged, you're not hoping for anything. And so therefore you undermine the very faith that can propel you to success in your business and in your life. When you're discouraged, it says the evidence of things not seen. There's no evidence because that which you're seeing is lack of performance, failure, indecision, doubt. In other words, when you let discouragement come in, you've really undermined your hope so that you're hoping for nothing because your dreams You're hoping for nothing because your dreams have slipped away. And so, my friends, discouragement will have you going through the motions and not getting results, because discouragement has undermined your faith in yourself, your faith in your ability, and even your faith in your opportunity. And so I say to each and every one of us today, we're at the end of the year, we're getting ready to start a new year, and we need to really look at what we need to do. What kind of framework must we come from in order to make this year the greatest year ever? I got reinvigorated when we got our checks this month. I'm sure most of you, we got our checks, finally got it yesterday. And it was the biggest check yet. Okay. And I can look back and I can say, well, over this first year, the LifeVantage business has generated nearly $50,000. Now let me tell you something. There are not a lot of jobs that give you $50,000 a year. Now, was my goal attained? No, it was not. My goal was to average $10,000 a month by the end of my first full year in the business. But I tell you this, we got over 50% there. We got over $5,000 there. And so what does that say? Does that say, oh man, it didn't work because it didn't achieve my goals? No, it says, hey, it works. I just need to work better. I just need to work smarter. I just need to work more. One of the interesting things about our business, you know, when you go into your back office and you have your monthly recap, which kind of gives you an overview of the income that you generated last month. And then you have your weekly recap, which gives you, you know, you go week number 1, I think we're up to week 50 for this year. And when you go into your back office and each week when you check that weekly recap and it says nothing found, then that lets you know that at the end of the month you're going to have, your month is not going to be as great as it could be. And why is that? Well, your monthly income is really, it's like your passive income. It's the income based on the efforts of yours, but it's also the income based on the efforts of the people in your group. Your weekly income is more tied into your own efforts. And so if you're not generating any product sales, you know, the great thing about our business is that you can share one bottle with a person as a preferred customer, and lo and behold, you got a check for $16. Okay? That you can introduce a person to our business at the Vantage Pack level, and even as a new person, and lo and behold, you have a check for $210. If you've been around for a little minute, you may have a check for $260 for that week. But if you're not doing those things during the week, either one, building your business through preferred customers, or number 2, building your business by enrolling people in the business, or number 3, building your business by helping your team enroll people and generate preferred customers. If you're not doing that, then that weekly recap will keep saying nothing found, nothing found. And so as we begin to look towards next year, which should start right now, one of the great mistakes that we make is when we say, when we put off to tomorrow that which should have been done last week. When we say, okay, this year wasn't quite what we wanted it to be, but I'm going to get myself together and I'm going to start off next year with a bang. You know how you start off next year with a bang? You start working today. You start working now. There's always something you can do right now that will move you towards where you want to be at the end of next year, that will move you towards where you want to be at the end of this year. This year is still on. You know, when you're in a heavyweight fight, just because it's the 15th round and there's only a minute to go, you can still win. You may have to knock him out, but you can still win. And so even now, and that's one of the things that's been motivating me, I say between now and the end of the month, I'm going to make $1,000. In other words, I'm going to sponsor 4 people in this business. And how do I know I'm going to do it? Because I made that commitment. I made a decision I'm going to do it. Now, One of the interesting things about our business is this, that you have to feel that you're going to be successful. You have to know that you're going to be successful. And so when I start working my program, when I start calling people, first I got a list. I know, and each of you on this phone knows, that if you're not presenting your product, your opportunity to people every day, that at the end of that week, you're not going to make any money. And so this is a simple business. In other words, we have a vehicle. It's like somebody gives you a Rolls Royce and it's sitting out in front of your house. We have the Rolls Royce of business opportunities sitting in front of our houses. But can it get us to New York if we sit on the porch watching it? No. Can it get us to New York if we don't put any gas in the tank? No. Can it get us to New York if we never go get in the car, get behind the wheel, crank it up? No. And so in our business, we have that Rolls Royce sitting in the middle of our consciousness. And so we have to do some things to make it happen. We have to do, number one, we got to go back to basics and have that list. Many of us say we've been through the list. We have obviously interacted with all the folks we know, and they either want to die young, be sick, or stay broke. Well, that's a clue right then. Maybe you were hanging out with the wrong bunch in the first place. I always teach my sons, if you are the smartest person in your group, you're in the wrong group. If you are the richest person in your group, you're definitely in the wrong group. So that may mean that we have to expand our sphere of influence. That means we have to get out of our comfort zone. There are a ton of people out there that need our opportunity, that need our product, but we have to get off the porch and go get them. Not only do we have to get off the porch and go get them, we have to get off the porch and go get them in a systematic, definite step 1, step 2, step 3 fashion. So if we don't put people in our system every day, I say this, if all that you do is make a commitment to have one person watch the ABC primetime video a day, now to get one to actually watch it, you may have to have 5 people who promise you on their mother's toe that they'll do it. But if you can get one person a day to watch that video, that's 5 people a week. That's 20 people a month. I guarantee you will get some checks, some weekly checks. One. But look at us. We look back, and each and every one of us, if we look at this last week, and we say, well, how many people did I get to watch my video? None. How many presentations did I do? None. Why? Well, you know, one of the things about discouragement is that it is based on excuses. The better the excuse, the worse it is. It is based on distractions. So many of us, and all of us, have distractions. We say, I think the season now, this economic season, means that we're fighting alligators. Okay? But you know what? Until we take the time to drain the swamp, how do we drain the swamp? One way we drain the swamp is to create more money. How do we create more money? We take the vehicle that we have in our hands and make it work for us. And so, knowing that, I want to just review just 6 reasons why people are not financially secure. 1, they blame everyone and everything for their failure, for their situation. People don't like the product. I don't know the wrong people. In other words, there's always a solution to that which exists in your life. If you don't know the right people, if the people you know don't want to do it, well, then find new people. How do you find new people? Look in the newspaper. See the companies that are advertising. Okay? Network more. Look at sharp people and just walk up to them and say, you look like a sharp person. You know, what type of business are you in? Start some dialogue. Build some relationships. Number 2, reason why people fail. When opportunity comes along, they wait to start. Many of us have people who are waiting. Oh, I'm going to do it next week. I'm going to do it next month. Think about us. Each and one of us on this call, when we saw it, we moved on it. Maybe we had to move some money around to get it. But when we saw it, we moved on it. So when we see people, well, let me get it on the first. We have a person who